Welcome to Twincast. Today we will
Right.
be... What?
No, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Rude.
I was like, great. Yeah, it's
Rude.
great.
We will be going over some history.
Oh, boy, history. I love
Everybody
history.
loves some history. Today we
Yeah,
will
I
be
don't
going
think
over the
so.
founding of Rome.
All right, what's so special about
Which,
Rome?
Well,
Why should I care?
legend says it was founded by some twins. So we're going to talk about that.
What kind of twins? Roman ones? Trojan ones? Whatever? I guess both kind of true.
So their names were Romulus and Remus.
There you go. What was their last name? Romulus and Remus. I don't know. The legends are kind of weird.
So without further ado, Wade, would you like to take it away with some quick overview?
Wade, who did the research? Yes.
Wade did all the research here. I'm just having a
good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. All right. So just a bit for our audience here. Excuse me, sir. Just like pour this on your computer. Still got a thing of coffee right there. It's not hot.
ASMR.
Not for you. Stop. No, not into that. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, a bit of background on Rome, I figured sharing this might kind of enhance your experience today. So you can at least walk away with some, fun facts, or at least you get to hear my great voice for a few minutes. I hear I have a face made for radio, so I guess for those who are listening to the visual version, get to see that. For those who are listening to our, I guess, Spotify version, if you will, or Anchor, whatever platform you listen on, even better. So a bit about Rome. So its founding was in 753 BC.
What does BC stand for?
Well, there's BC and BCE. So if you're more of traditional, I guess, Christian descent, if you will, BC is before Christ. BCE is before Common Era. So that's for all you heathens. I don't know. It's a very science-like term. And then it ended in 1453 AD or CE. So AD, Anno Dani, it's I think it's Latin for in the year of our Lord. No, it's not after death anyway. And then CE is Common Era. So Rome, when it was founded in 753, its early days was a very the way they passed on myths and legends wasn't through writing, but rather through spoken tale. So that's going to make it a little more interesting with our tale with Romulus and Remus.
It's kind of like what we're doing.
Yeah, we're just here talking crap, but at least it's recorded, So with oratory tales, not stales, but tales, they'll be passed down from generation to generation based off of how it was told. And of course, this kind of glorifies Romulus and Remus more than they would probably deserve, but hey, what the heck. So these early days was when that happened. And really, believe it or not, Rome, its early days are known as days of having a senate, not having a king or emperor or Caesar. But actually, believe it or not, Rome, when it actually first started, it actually started as a monarchy. It had 6 kings, but the 7th one sucked, and then they had a populist uprising, which then brought about the dominant senate that we kind of more
The
so know.
Senate.
I am the Senate. Do it. But yeah, the king's era lasts from 753 to 510 BC. The Roman Republic, when the Senate was formed, that lasted from 510 BC to about 27 BC. So, granted, there was still some emergency times when they would have a king-like structure. They would elect a dictator. Yes, that is a Roman Senate term, dictator, to dictate. It has a very negative connotation these days, but dictator was actually kind of what they had during that time. And they would oversee Rome during times of war. However, that position could not hold it for more than 6 months. I mean, unless you're Julius Caesar or Julius Caesar, Caesar's a play on the word Kaiser, so, a German type. Well, that's the more Roman, but
Wow, fun fact.
I know, fun fact. So, another reason to love my last name, right? But also the Senate. Senators were appointed by I forget the name of their title, but they were appointed by I had it in here somewhere. by council. So every
Oh.
year, two councils, CONSULS, councils would be elected by the people. And they could only govern for a 1 year term. But these two positions, it'd be like co-presidents, if you will. They were elected by the people. And I know I'm just spitting fun facts, but I don't know. Early, more ancient politics fascinates me. So, and I know those who are listening are here for a good time, right? So you might as well learn a few things about how Rome kind of formed politics. This part lasts until 27 BC, when Augustus Caesar, Julius Caesar's nephew, proclaimed himself emperor.
Emperor.
I know, right? And then eventually fell apart whenever Constantinople, they moved the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome to Constantinople, which is modern day Istanbul, which is at the border of Asia and Europe, southeastern. If you know where Turkey is, great. But anyway, this changed whenever Julius Caesar, he was a rising general. When he was on a campaign in Gaul or France, he basically had been a rising star and was eventually summoned back to Rome without his legion, because he was up there with his legion to appear before the Senate. Julius was all like, I think I know what this is about. I'm just going to make my move before they make theirs and went in. This is where the famous saying, crossing the Rubicon, if you've ever heard the saying, they crossed the Rubicon, kind of the point of no return, crossed the Rubicon, famously led a civil war and basically became dictator for a while, and then was killed by his senators, which then led to more civil war, and then his nephew became emperor. So Romans have some good, they've done a lot for our modern kind of history, a lot of stuff of our, like the West, a lot of things Western like come from Rome. I mean, they were the ones to crucify Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess a lot of people will blame the Jews for that one, but I mean, the Romans were the ones to ultimately pull the trigger on that one. So, any of you of Christian descent, Christians are one of the three popular religions of the West, that being Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. There's a lot of history there. They were also the first empire to really bring about a Pax-like time for a while. Pax Romana, that's just an era in which you have such a dominant force or an empire that has an influence over the world, in which it's pretty peaceful and it's simple to go around. Yeah, the Romans were brutal, but it was still peaceful. That provided the environment for Christ's ministry. Other examples of Pax-like periods are like Pax Britannica, which was Britain, which was 1815 and 1914. And, of course, our modern-day one, Pax Americana, which was 1945 after World War II till now. So we do have those peace-like periods. So now how long...
Almost had World War III.
Yeah, and then COVID, and, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So who knows how long Pax Americana will last. Maybe it'll be in our lifetime. That's up to debate and actual history to play out. But it's kind of neat how we're even living in our own version of that these days, because right now I guess the U.S. is kind of that superpower. But, well, empires rise and fall all the time, and Rome was definitely one that was very big, very vast. I mean, it covered all around the Mediterranean. One does not simply do that. So, but this all started somewhere, and it started, legend has it, from a pair of twins. So, while Rome was not the biggest empire in terms of land mass, it was still very massive. I mean, the British Empire had them down pretty good. And you got other empires like, the Mongols, they didn't mess around. You got, the Persians, Assyrians, all them. But the Romans, their influence is still heavily felt to these days. So I kind of I'll set the stage for our founders. So our founders were twins. And then once I set the stage, I'm going to pass the baton off to Andrew for a little bit, see how much he knows on this one.
I'll probably be fumbling the baton a little bit.
Maybe that's all good. As long as you can go 100 meters, we're good, right? You can't even do that. Oh, my gosh. Those of you who have run track with Andrew over here, I remember he basically died in the 4x1. I thought he was going to maybe get me at first, and he just, died. I was like, dang, that's not good. Oh, dang. You'd like to ding a little bit over there?
You turned on my volume. I don't want to hear it.
Okay. Anyway, So, kind of to set the stage, the founders, Romulus and Remus, they are from the beginning days of Rome. Obviously, they're literally the founders. So, that's another reason why a lot of what has been told about them is legend. So, it's not 100% proven fact, but hey, let's go for it. So, our founders are actually descendants of the Trojans, believe it or not. So,
Wow.
the Greeks, whenever they sacked Troy and kind of wrecked them pretty good, um, the people who were there fled to Italy. They kind of jumped around. I mean, moved around, and then eventually a set of kind of descendants from that settled in a city called Alba Longa, which is in Italy. This is north of modern day Rome, by the way. Of course, this eventually led to that. I guess our tale really originates from Alba Longa. So both Romulus and Remus are from Alba Longa. Um, so that's where it starts. Really, I want to start our tale right here with King Proca. And he had two sons, Numitor and Amulius. So these two, Numitor was the eldest, Amulius was the younger, more ambitious one. Um, and Proca, he gave the throne to Numitor because he was the eldest, and Amulius wasn't too thrilled about this. So I won't say he led a coup d'etat or a coup to overthrow Numitor exactly. I don't think it was that big, but essentially he led a coup-like thing where he deposed his brother from power. Granted, he did not kill his brother Numitor. I don't know exactly why. Legend has it that Amulius did not kill his older brother Numitor because of just his brotherly love. However, his brotherly love for his older brother did not stop with his children. So once Amulius seized power from Numitor, he went through and just killed all of Numitor's sons because he was power hungry. And I mean, just like anytime you take power from someone, there's usually a lot of death involved because if you don't kill them, they will come back and get you. I think even 39 rules of power, destroy your enemy completely because if you don't, they will come back with a vengeance. And this is kind of what happens. After he took power, killed his sons and one of his daughters. So Numitor had a daughter, Rhea Silvia. So he did not kill this daughter, Rhea Silvia. He just, I don't know if it was like some kind of act of chivalry or something, but he just decided not to kill Rhea Silvia. So this woman, instead of killing her, he forced Rhea Silvia to become a Vestal. Now, Vestal, think of like a nun, if you will. So she was a nun-like figure for the goddess Vesta, and she served in the temple in this nun-like position. And for those of you who know a bit about nuns, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be virgins. And however, Rhea Silvia was not quite very, she wasn't super dedicated to that life of virginity, or I don't know if I'd say celibacy. I don't know if she really got married, but she was not a virgin. So this is where I'm going to pass the baton to Andrew. And we'll hear what he has to say about the actual subject. The moment you all came here for. It's like, I'm like the Old Testament. I'm like, here we go, here we go, here we go. New Testament, now you're ta-da, here we go. So what do we got here?
The legend begins. Okay. Romulus and Remus, they were born in 770 BC or
All right,
BCE.
whatever you want to go with.
And as Wade was talking, their mother was Rhea Silvia, the one that was supposed to be a virgin. So you might be asking yourself, how did she have twins if she's a virgin? And that's where we get into some interesting debate as to who the father was.
Oh boy, is that it could be Jerry Springer here? I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's kind of a raunchy show.
Kind of.
So there's basically three major ideas here of who the father was.
All right. Is there a DNA test?
There is not.
What
DNA
is
test.
DNA?
And so because of the oratory history, obviously some of this is going to be folklore and a lot of myth and legend. So that's where two of these people come in. So the first is The father is claimed to be Mars, the god of
Like
war.
the candy bar.
No, the god of war.
What's she doing with those candy bars?
And so the god of war,
The god of war.
the god of war,
Kratos.
had kids with her, and so that's one theory. The other theory is it could be the demigod Hercules, and many of you know
Cool.
Hercules, probably because of stories you've heard when you were younger, or the Disney movie.
I'd say the
Hercules.
Disney movie. I actually just watched that movie recently.
You want to know something interesting?
No.
I've never seen Hercules.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
Dead
it's so
serious.
good. I liked it. I mean, I didn't like cry in it or anything. I don't know why you would, but it was a pretty good movie.
We'll take your word
I
for
will.
it.
I will. Maybe one of these days we need to take your Hercules virginity, as I like to say, just right now in this moment. Speaking of virginity, please go on.
So the third, I guess, idea that people have, the debate that people use.
Just say it. We're all thinking
All
it.
right. So is that she was raped by an unknown man.
Oh, the R word. Yeah, some random dude did the dirty on her. Some say it was actually Amulius who did it. I
Is that
don't.
the uncle?
Yeah. Yeah, that's her uncle. So think of like Lion King Uncle Scar, just like I guess Mufasa didn't really have a daughter, but let's
So,
pretend she did.
In a way, it's just a way of him spiting his brother even
I
more.
don't know. That was just an article I read like 20 minutes ago. I was like, I
Anyways.
didn't even know that was a thing. These
So-
legends, let me tell you.
That's probably the most likely, considering most people don't believe in. Mars
I'm a
and
Christian,
Hercules, so.
I want Mars to be the one.
So when the twins were born, Amulius found out and went into like a rage. And Amulius is the dad of the uncle. The
He is
uncle
the
of-
uncle.
of what's her name?
Rhea Silvia.
Right?
Yeah, Rhea Silvia's uncle is Amulius.
Yeah, and
Numitor
so
is the dad.
He was mad because, like, of course he wants to have rights over the kingdom or something like that.
Yeah, because if they have kids, then like.
And so Amulius had Rhea imprisoned, and the twins were put in a basket and sent down the river Tiber. So the twins were thrown into a basket and just sent down the river, and they made it to shore.
That's some great parenting.
Great stuff. Great
Mm.
stuff. So these twins, they made it to the shore, and you will never guess who found them.
Pharaoh's daughter.
No, nope, not Moses, but very close. Very similar story.
Jesus.
So
Alibaba.
we find them with a
Just
she-wolf.
say it.
With
Oh
a
my
she-wolf.
gosh, drama queen over here.
With a
She
she-wolf.
was She-wolf. Oh.
So for those of you who don't know who a she-wolf is, Wade, please explain.
It's basically a wolf that's a she. How hard is it? She just had babies, and
Yes.
she's got that lactating milk going on.
And so we can only assume that the babies died because this mama she-wolf was like, "Yo, there's some babies, and I'm gonna raise them," and so she breastfed them.
That's great, yeah.
So these boys were raised by wolves.
Oh, is that where this saying
I-
comes from?
I don't know. I'm
I mean, it
guessing.
could be. Your mom was raised by wolves.
And legend also has it that a woodpecker was the one that brought them food.
Ow.
So like
Random.
Mama she-wolf and Daddy woodpecker. So the boys were eventually found by Faustulus and Laurentia.
Laurentia, yes. Laurentia.
So this was a couple
Whatever,
that
yeah.
apparently found them with the wolves. The wolf. The mama wolf. I
The
don't know.
wolf of Rome Street.
And they raised the boys, and these boys grew up to be strong leaders.
Ooh.
And they were well respected in their community, and they like to have fun too.
What kind of fun?
They like to have fun by beating the crap out of the local robbers,
Who doesn't enjoy some good crime fighting?
and then they'd take the stuff that the robbers would steal. So they'd steal the stolen, and they'd give it to the shepherds in the area.
Oh, wow. How generous.
And so one day these robbers had enough, and they packed together and were like, "Yo, it's time
Did they say yo? That would be great if they did. They're probably like blah, 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 and whatever.
Yo,
they in English.
Yeah, so they decided they were going to ambush these twins, and they did. And one of the twins was captured.
Oh.
So Remus was captured. Must have got the bad genes from Daddy Mars.
Mars.
And he was taken to Amulius on false charges that he was leading a band of thieves that was pillaging the local lands, which is the opposite of what he was actually doing. I mean, he was...
Classic politics right there.
Yeah, so Amulius now has Remus, and does he know at this point?
To my understanding, Amulius had his suspicions, but hadn't quite confirmed it yet. Nevertheless, Amulius still sent Remus to the same prison as his grandfather. Not his father, his grandfather. So keep in mind, Amulius and all of them, they are grandparents, not direct
So he's a
parents.
great uncle.
He is a great uncle. So in case you start getting some Hamlet or Lion King vibes from this, it's kind of like that, but include the word great before it, you know.
So we're going to reveal their origins a little bit.
We are?
No, we're not.
Oh, well.
Wade did the research. I'm just reading, basically.
You're welcome. No, I mean, it's great. It's great.
Oh
You're doing great, honey.
So before this, Faustulus had hidden the twins' origin from them. So Faustulus didn't really tell them that they were found and raised by a she-wolf. How they knew, who knows, but...
I mean, it's like if a famous person, I mean, their dad or mother and all that. Actually, not their dad. Well, I guess their dad was Mars and he's pretty well known. If it's the stranger, well, seeing how we don't even know who the stranger's name is. Wah, wah, wah. But, but the, I mean, they were, you know, the king and all them. It's, you know, word of stuff like this gets out, so my guess is that Faustulus and Laurentia, they had their suspicions, and seeing how strong of leaders the boys were and how talented they were in certain areas, usually, not always, but in a sense that leadership kind of personality can be hereditary.
Were they shooting lightning bolts?
Maybe, I don't know. They were shooting something. So that's kind of why Faustulus had his suspicions and said, hey, your brother, he was arrested. We should actually be kind of concerned about this because X, Y, and Z. So this kind of riled Romulus up a bit. Not only did he fear for his brother's life, but it also wound him up in the sense of, wait a second, you telling me this Amulius guy basically cheated us out of all this and did this to our grandfather and our mother? It kind of upsets some people, you know?
So the plot kind of thickens here. And
like how
so
thick?
Remus was imprisoned, and he was imprisoned
Triple
with
C
his grandfather, Numitor. And if you guys remember, that's like...
It's his grandfather.
And it poses a threat to Amulius, and that's why he's in prison as well. So when talking to his son, he was able to find out that he was like...
That's his grandson.
Yeah. And Numitor did not reveal his, like, the origins to Remus.
The video I watched said he didn't really say anything. But then
highly unlikely, though. I mean...
I don't know. How likely is it that a set of twins are going to be raised by wolves? That's why they say fiction has to have a rational thread through it, while reality can be totally irrational because it doesn't have to have any, like, sense of, I guess, world building, you know, because reality, it's a weird thing. You can't make this stuff up, but apparently, you know, people probably...
You definitely can.
Watch me. But yeah, I think it said that Numitor did not reveal the origins to Remus, but then somehow when Romulus, he basically got the local peasants and shepherds together using those leadership skills and was going to go and basically kill Amulius. You know, let's just march on the capital. Let's just
kill
get
the
that
evil
sword
great
out.
uncle.
Yeah.
Speaking of swords, Wade, he has some kind of random sword with him.
Did I? Oh, yeah. They basically took this guy. Oh my gosh, there we go. Went in and kind of did some decapitation, right?
And I'm just hoping that this isn't the second time we showed the sword in the.
No, I don't care.
He likes showing off his sword.
Can you blame me? It's so cool. I mean, it's not that cool, but
Who knows? We might show it off one more time later.
No, I'll just
later
hold
in
it
the-
like this. I'm
Later in the podcast, we don't know.
Later in your momness.
So, on his way.
What happened on his way? Brain fart?
No. So he's going, like he said, he's on his way to, I guess, try to
Get the
seek
throne,
revenge on his granduncle. Is that
Sure.
great papaw? Peepaw?
No, not papaw. No, papaws are like grandpas. I call my grandpa papaw. I could never.
I call my grandpa grandpa.
Oh my gosh.
How's
well, that's okay. Good for you. But
Great
papaw,
uncle
yes,
Tito.
great. Tito? Oh no.
Great Tito.
No.
Is that like Spanish for like uncle or something?
I don't know.
So on his way, he ran into his brother Remus, who was set free by Numitor somehow.
I don't really know how.
You know, they just like, oh, by the way, he's free now.
I guess he had some royal blood in it.
We honestly, it's,
it's stupid.
It all makes sense
It's
in this
stupid.
story.
It's ridiculous. Let's just say he busted out. This is all made up folklore anyway.
So Remus has his own band of companion as well.
Yes,
because they both have that great personality that just pick up hundreds of people wherever they go. They're like, oh,
I wish people liked me like these guys.
bruh.
Actually, I don't know if I do. I'd probably ruin it. Actually, I do want people to like me. Please like me. Please clap.
So from here, the brothers they stormed into the castle and they killed their uncle, the king.
Rip.
So wah wah wah.
It wasn't that funny, Like it was great. It's better when I did it.
Do it again.
No. Wah wah wah.
There we
It
go.
wasn't that funny that time.
So at first, Numitor, their granddaddy, thought that they were being invaded by foreigners, like the kingdom was being invaded by foreigners.
Somehow Numitor got there. I thought he was in jail.
Yeah,
but
me too. But just like
He's
that,
still-
he's just magically part of the kingdom again.
he got power. I guess it's a testament to how bad my research was. But
Honestly, we're probably gonna get so many DMs like, "You messed this up."
you speak as if we get DMs. Oh
gotten,
no!
We've gotten a few.
Oh no!
We've gotten a few. Wah wah wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
So he soon discovered that it was his grandsons. He was like, "Oh."
No, he kind of knew. Well, I guess.
Well, when they were first being invaded, he just saw a big mob of people, I'm guessing.
freaking mob coming in,
From here, Numitor summoned the council.
Yeah, he just got them together. Was like, hey,
He was
my
like,
dudes.
"Oh, my brother's dead. Yo, let's summon the council." So that happened.
Yeah, he just like, hey, let me explain all this, and he did, and then
Everybody.
everybody was kind of pleased because he just kind of held his tongue for however years old
Yeah.
the boys are, plus how many years that was.
So he summons the council, tells them what his evil brother did, who's now dead,
Rip.
and tells them that Romulus and Remus are his grandsons. And so Numitor took the throne, and
Good.
Romulus and Remus they didn't want to wait. So they were heirs to the throne, of course. Well, one of them was, of course.
How would that work? Because they were twins. Because
I don't know.
none of them can claim the birthright. Because I guess you technically have. I wonder if they did it by conception or by actual birth.
You think it's going to be like the twin gift thing where it's like, oh, you split the gift. Share the gift.
I don't know. Because power is something like the position of king. Two people holding that seat.
So what would you do if they were conjoined?
Cut them in half and let them fight to the death, I guess. I don't know.
Speaking of that, we should do a conjoined twins episode. I forget who suggested that.
I don't remember either.
Well, when we do an episode, we'll shout them out. Speaking of that, shout out to Thomas Rohr for suggesting to do Romulus and Remus.
I've never met Mr.
Thank you, Thomas, for the suggestion.
I'm sure he's a great dude.
He's amazing. He's great. He likes history, so he'll probably come back and be like, yo, you got this and this and this wrong.
Probably, but you know what?
I'll
At
be
least
like-
that means he watched it.
And I'll be like, wah, wah, wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah, wah. Suck it. Start
So-
your own podcast if it means that much to you.
So Numitor took the throne. The boys didn't want to wait, so they were like, we're not going to wait.
Yeah.
Let's go start our own kingdom somewhere else.
And they wanted to start their own city, too. It's kind of special, Start your own city, right?
So now they are basically in the same spot that Numitor and Amulus were. Two brothers and one kingdom that they were trying to start or
Kind of
have.
similar. So
Similar situation.
they did go. I believe they went to the same spot in which the she-wolf kind of nursed them, to my understanding.
Yep.
And that thing started out okay. There was a bit of a dispute over where exactly they should set their city up because there was 2 spots that the brothers felt that were strategically better.
And when one twin gets his mind made up on something and one twin has his mind made up on something else,
Sure, yeah.
it always ends well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a certain personality that you have that, you fight with them, and it's great. So these 2, they start throwing down, but not physically. A lot of, this is how it should be. No, they weren't backing down anytime soon. And eventually they figured, let's settle this peacefully, but religiously. They had it'd be like how the Jews would cast lots. I don't know if you're familiar with the scene of Jesus on the cross, and they were casting lots for his belongings. There you go. But instead of casting lots, they went back to Numitor, their grandfather, and was like, "How should we settle this?" And he's like, "Oh, well, the birds. All right.
Climb a hill and look for the
birds." Basically, it's like, oh, like the book, The Birds? No, silly, just count the birds.
So was it Romulus or Remus that was on the first hill?
So it depends on what you define as the first hill, but I would say Romulus was on the western hill and Remus was on the
who
eastern hill.
Who was the one that saw birds first?
Oh, you don't remember that. I see what you mean. Remus saw the birds first. I believe he saw
was like
9.
I thought it was 5.
5. Well, you probably are reading it right now. So
no, I'm not. I don't know if you wrote it.
I probably didn't because I started writing stuff in there despite your inability to type stuff in. We have a Google Doc.
There's a few birds. There's a few birds.
Let's say 7, just to
5 to 9.
Correct us. What was his name again?
Thomas. Correct.
Thomas, DM a correction, please, or anybody else watching. That'll be our comments section. Correct. We'll just do a wrong. We'll do a wrong history podcast, and
we can have a wah section.
Oh, that's basically the whole thing. So anyway, Remus, he counted whatever amount of birds first. Let's say 7. Humor me, because it's legend. We can just make it up as we go. And then Romulus. Well, Remus saw his birds first, but then Romulus counted 12 birds.
He's like, I saw more birds.
Yeah, he's like, he saw more birds.
That's kind of sus.
And then what?
It's kind of suspicious. It's kind of
sus.
Like, I saw, how many did you find? 7? I found 12.
12. Yeah.
Like the big old one-up adage of the
Well, I don't
twins.
really know how maybe they had their cell phones.
I'm pretty sure it probably just went like, yo, I found mine. And then
the
other twin was like, oh, yeah? Well,
that's stupid.
I saw more.
Probably. Anyway, they didn't really determine the term. They didn't settle the terms of how it would be resolved in advance. And whenever you don't set up the standards of your contract in advance, it doesn't end well because then both of them came forward and said, this is why mine is right. So nothing got accomplished. This is where things get dicey. So, one of 3 things happened. For our guests who are listening in right now, things came to blows and one of them killed the other. Think of the name of the empire, Rome. So who do you think survived this fight?
Remus.
Ooh,
because it's called Reem, of course.
Oh yeah, no. So Romulus came out on top, and killed his brother Remus.
There's a little debate of how he died.
Yeah. It's the tricky thing whenever you mix power and family. It's definitely been a big issue in not only ancient politics. That's the one thing that's amazing about the U.S., regardless of any political affiliation you have, is the peaceful transition of power that we have in the States. It's actually,
for now,
it's still like the fact that we can do that is actually quite incredible, I think, because not many countries in the grand scheme of all of Earth's existence, if you will, have not always been the most successful at the peaceful transition of power, especially at a high level, like in our case, the presidency here and kingship, because when you have 2 co-rulers, I mean, anytime you have a relationship, you have conflict. So these two, they just couldn't settle their dispute, and it came to blows, and one killed the other. So I have 3 theories here. So one, they just couldn't settle their dispute, and they're just like, you know what, screw you, and they both drew their swords, and that was that. The second theory is
Didn't
Romulus was
jump over a fence or something?
close. So Romulus was building the wall around his city, and Remus came down kind of mocking him, talking crap. Remus was jealous of how his brother Romulus was building a wall and it was going good. And the tricky thing about jealousy is when you're jealous of something, the existence of that being basically insults you. Because whenever you're jealous of something, like that thing is, in a sense, being better than you. It's like, by you existing, you're judging me. So by him building that wall and doing well, that was judging him. So a bit of psychology on jealousy. So Remus figured he'd do his, what twins do, and just starts talking crap. This boy, he comes down here talking crap about my wall, and Remus was all like, I'll climb your wall. This thing sucks, and climbed his wall. And was just all, hey, see how this is? It sucks. And Romulus didn't like that. So I guess 2 sub-theories on this is one, Romulus, he just took a spear and just stabbed his brother right through the chest and finished him off. Others say that one of Romulus's men killed him. I'd be more inclined to believe that Romulus did it. But,
I heard that like one of his guys chucked a spade and it hit him in the head or
yeah,
something.
Probably could have been that too. But it's hard to tell. Again, legends and all that.
Step on a crack and break your mother's back. Climb up a wall and get sick and die.
I see. Yeah, and then that's the third theory, that he did that, and the gods got upset at Remus because by insulting his wall, it in a sense insulted their ability to protect and defend. So then the gods struck him with a plague of some sort and killed him. Nevertheless, at the end, when Remus died, Romulus still provided a proper burial for Remus, paid respect for him. And then when
just kill your brother and let's have a nice funeral for him.
Press
now.
F to pay your respects. Yeah, and paid his respects and did all that. Whether that, I don't know if he regretted it. He might have. He might not have. I'm not sure. But after that, he went on to finish up his city and called his city Rome, or Roma if you're Italian, and start whistling. No, I don't speak Italian. SpongeBob reference, anybody? Romulus did some other things in his life. He was the king of Rome at the time. I mean, Rome started out with kings and then eventually became a senate, then an empire. He started up all that. He made the Senate. They give him credit for creating the Senate and all that.
The Senate.
I am the Senate. There was a Senate, and then the Senate. They actually were not elected officials. This comes back to the consuls, or council as I pronounced it earlier. It's actually consul. 2 were elected. There's always 2. Each served a 1-year term. I know, crazy, right? An election every year. And then those 2 would, nominate and appoint senators. And there was 100 of them. They came from the wealthy. I think they were the patricians, and then the plebeians served them or something. So if you ever have heard me call someone a plebeian or a plebeian, it's in reference to this. I don't know if you've heard me call people that. But anyway.
Nope.
Romulus went on to live a longer life of being king of Rome. There was a few interesting tales about Romulus. He went on to... Basically, when Rome was getting started, there was a lot of men, but not that many women. So they looked over and saw the city of Sabine, or maybe it was a country, whatever, but Sabine. And they had first invited the women over. Hey, basically come marry our dude so we can populate our area.
And they were like, nope.
They said nope. So then they went in. Well, actually, they threw a festival and then turned the tables and basically raped them all and made them their wives. And then Sabine was not too pleased about it. I believe it came to blows and they had a war. And then, I guess
we know the winner.
We heard of Rome, haven't we? Romulus, he went on to continue living a long life. Then he eventually died. Few ways he could have died. The legend has it that he was taken up in a whirlwind or a storm.
Perfect end to the story, you know.
Yeah, sure. Taken up, kind of like what, Elijah, fiery whatever, and went up, but instead he was up in a whirlwind or a storm. Or that he ascended to heaven by Mars, I assume probably by the whirlwind. Or that he was literally torn limb from limb by the senators, because in typical Roman fashion, the senators like to gang up on the head of state and just jump them and tear them to pieces or stab them. It's just kind of a Roman thing to do. So I don't know. That's the tale of Romulus and Remus. Fascinating twin tale.
Yeah.
Definitely Romulus took a lot of the center stage late, but Remus was still very significant. Definitely kind of an interesting tale, saying how Romulus killed Remus, in a sense, for power. When you think about it, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, would you kill your twin for power? I mean, I guess if your twin brother was Wyatt Kaiser, I mean, can you blame him for killing him? Tyler, I don't know. I might kill him anyway just for sport, All these nurses. Maybe if it was an Andrew, too.
Fun fact, both of our twins are nurses. Well, nurses, man nurses.
Nurses. Yeah.
Not to be mixed up with MRSA.
Is your brother a good caretaker?
I think
Like,
so.
if you feel sick, will he, like,
Oh,
put
no,
blankets?
not to me. He sucks.
Wyatt will have his moments.
He's like, he could care less. Could not care less.
There you go. I was about to say, could care
Could
less.
not care
There
less.
is a difference.
Yeah, so thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in. We can all thank Wade for doing the research for this one because I was lazy.
Yes, you were. You can do the next one.
So,
or we can interview a set of twins or something.
You guys, if you have suggestions, go ahead and DM us. If you have a set of twins you would like us to interview, hit us up with their info.
That would be great.
If you have a set of twins that you would like us to research on, like Romulus and Remus, shout out to Thomas Rohr again. He suggested we do them. So
yes, and there was other suggestions in there.
There are other suggestions that we have ready. So if you suggested one, don't worry, we have a list.
Yes. Although don't spam me too hard, right? Just
yeah. So send those DMs in, and we will see you soon. But before we go, I forgot to play our intro music.
Oh my gosh!
So it's an outro.
Do that? Oh my gosh! We don't need this. Goodbye.